Notice me, senpai. Notice me. Oh, my lungs. Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope that you're doing well. Better than my lungs are doing anyway. Today we're talking about 7 different designer fragrances that'll help you get noticed in cool weather. Because everybody wants to be noticed in a positive way, at least for the most part, I would think, right? Getting noticed in a really negative way is typically not good. So yeah, let's jump into it. 7 fragrances that'll get you noticed because they smell good, man. All right, let's get it kicked off. And I'm already screwing the whole video up because I'm gonna start off with 2 fragrances in one spot. That's how we do it here. Set something up and immediately screw the whole thing. First up, Armani Code Eau de Parfum or Armani Code Profumo. See, they're in the same spot because they're both Armani Code. I didn't want to have 2 codes in the list, but I do anyway. So Code Eau de Parfum, this one is the newest in the Code line. And this one initially, when it came out, was met with kind of a whimper, really. For as big of a release as this is, you would think more people would get hyped about it. But as time has gone on, people have warmed up to it a bit more. And it's not that I dislike the fragrance, but I also have warmed up to it more. Still don't like it as much as Code Absolute, which is my favorite of all, but I do really like this one. This is basically Armani Code, the original, mixed with a little bit of Le Male from Jean Paul Gaultier. Or you could also say mixed with Prada Luna Rossa Sport, but a lot of people will just compare Luna Rossa Sport to Le Male, so you can see that's kind of 6 half dozen. It's got tonka, vanilla, suede, lavender, and citrus, and that vanilla and lavender, the way that it's used here, is what's gonna draw a little bit of that comparison to the classic Le Male. This one does have good performance, but it doesn't have as much performance as Profumo. And I think in general, younger guys will probably lean more toward this one, and guys middle-aged and older will lean more toward this one. So Code Profumo, this one has tonka, cardamom, suede, leather, and apple as some of the notes in the scent. It's sweeter than Code Eau de Parfum. It is louder than Code Eau de Parfum, projects more in your face. It's got kind of this effervescent, carbonated beverage kind of opening, really appealing. Like the way it smells a lot. And I'd say that both of those, fantastic for pulling attention and compliments. I mean, there's a reason that Armani Code is still going strong with all these new flankers. That DNA that was established in the original is a freaking hit. Well, it was a hit then, and it still is now. So I wanted to present both of these. Like I said, one maybe trends more toward one crowd and one more toward the other. And before I go any further, I want to talk about a fragrance that's not officially in this video, but I want to include it anyway. Jet Black Enigma. Now, in case you're unaware, this is a fragrance that I creatively directed. So I called all the shots on what was going into it and how it was going to be used. Perfumer is Elias Hermanides. Super talented guy with Firmenich, and it's done in collaboration, of course, with Michael Malul, London. This fragrance I absolutely love. Big time spices in here, dark woodiness, smells amazing. I've got a video on the channel in case you want more information on it, and I'll link it below. Actually, I'll link all these below. And with Jet Black Enigma, that one is a limited edition. If you use the code GENTS, save yourself 20% off. And with that code, it's under $100 for 100 mils. All right, next up on the official list, Pure Excess Night from Paco Rabanne. Ginseng, cacao, vanilla, caramel, and myrrh. Some of the notes in the fragrance. Gotta love that note, myrrh. Now, I have a soft spot in my heart for both Pure Excess and Pure Excess Night. Of the 2, I've worn Pure Excess more because when that one came out, I really gravitated toward it. Some people were dunking on it, saying how much they hated it, but man, I fell for it, gotta say. Now this, of course, is the flanker, Pure Excess Night. It is stronger than the original Pure Excess, and I would say that in general, more people seem to like Pure Excess Night more than Pure Excess. So even if I personally more oftentimes might lean toward the original Pure Excess. At the same time, I fully grasp that Pure Excess Night is the better fragrance for pulling attention from people and getting unsolicited compliments. It's nice and sweet. It, again, kind of like Code Profumo, has this kind of effervescent opening. If you spray that on, you'll know what I'm talking about. It's got this zinginess to it that a lot of times you're gonna find more in warm weather scents where ginger is used. So when you see it in cool weather scents. Kind of stands out a little bit. Great fragrance though, and it's especially good for night, just like the name suggests. Next up, we're gonna go with Mustache EDT. Mustache. What a name. Now imagine if they came out with a new flanker to this and they called it Goatee. Or maybe Soul Patch. I can't imagine too many people would be like, oh man, you got that new Soul Patch Eau de Parfum? That's pretty good. The question is, what would Soul Patch smell like? Or maybe they come out with Sideburns. That'd be cool. ZZ Top Beard Eau de Parfum. We're getting off track here. Mustache Eau de Parfum. This smells like Yves Saint Laurent Tuxedo, only way more affordable. That's a really simplistic way to break it down, but that's how we're gonna do it because that's how everybody does it. As benzoin, vanilla, pink pepper, and cedar are some of the notes in the fragrance, it's fantastically rich and warm, slightly sweet and spicy. It's gentlemanly and at the same time remarkably versatile and appealing. And for the price that you can sometimes pick this up for at discounters, is it worth every penny? The problem is it sells out sometimes at discounters, and when you can't find it there, it sucks. Problem, of course, as with all fragrances that lots of people love and want to get their hands on that isn't in massive production levels, sometimes it sells out. And then you have to wait on it. But it's worth it, so when you can pick it up, do so. Up next, a newer fragrance, it is Scandal from Jean Paul Gaultier. This has tonka, clary, sage, and vetiver, and following in the footsteps of many fragrances that have come out here recently, it has caramel, which is becoming so popular in men's scents. So what this ends up smelling like is kind of a combination of a number of fragrances. Scandal smells like you took probably 3, 4, 5 different popular designer scents, took parts from each one of them, put it into like a little DNA combination machine that some mad scientist had, and turned it on, and then this came out. So you've got some Jean Paul Gaultier Le Beau in here, you know, taking from their own brand a little bit. They've got a little bit of Stronger With You in here from Emporio Armani. Got a little bit of Bad Boy in here from Carolina Herrera. And like I said, you could probably pick out 2 or 3 other fragrances as well, little bits and pieces from them. So Scandal ends up being pretty interesting because it doesn't directly copy or emulate anything in the sense that you smell it and you go, oh man, this is like a 1-to-1 with this fragrance. But it ends up being a Frankenstein's monster of a bunch of fragrances. And so that puts this one into an interesting spot where some people are gonna hate on it immediately because of that. And then other people will smell it and be like, man, this smells freaking great because it smells like little bits of that and this and that and this and that, and I like that. Oh, and I'll also say Scandal has really good performance along with pretty much every single fragrance here. These are all fragrances that will last you a long time. So you don't have to worry about having to reapply or having your fragrance wear off or anything like that. Next up, a big time performer, Spice Bomb Extreme from Viktor and Rolf. Vanilla, tobacco, spices, and some woods are some of the notes in this fragrance. Love the way this smells in the cold, especially during winter. Now, a whole bunch of you guys out there think that this is the best designer fall fragrance ever. I held a tournament in 2020, which you guys voted on, and Spice Bomb Extreme won that baby. A lot of you out there love this for fall. I love this for winter, and I'd say in late fall when it starts to chill down, this one is great. Performs like a monster, lasts forever, projects heavily, of course loaded down with spices, but not in an overly aggressive way. Well, as unaggressive as a fragrance that projects like an untethered beast can be. That's because the black vanilla in here helps contrast it, helps balance it out, helps smooth it out a bit. Spice Bomb Extreme for a lot of people is the pinnacle of the line, and I'd say for me personally it still is. Up next, another newer fragrance, Londonweed Alone Blue Electrique from Yves Saint Laurent. Cardamom, lavender, ginger, and cedar, some of the notes in this scent. Said it before, say it again. When this was announced, I was cautiously optimistic. Now I say cautiously optimistic because Londonweed Alone and L'Homme have a lot of flankers that kind of fall by the wayside. Now, a lot of them are actually not as bad as people say, but still yet, a lot of times they just don't take off. And with this one being basically a flanker of a flanker, you know, Londonweed Alone Eau Electrique and now Blue Electrique, Yeah, I was, like I said, cautiously optimistic, but I thought that it was 50-50. 50% chance it's decent, 50% chance it sucks. And then it was neither of those. It was awesome. Londonweed Alone Blue Electrique takes the original Londonweed Alone DNA right there front and center, modernizes it, gives it a slight fresh twist, but still it rocks in cool weather. And honestly, it becomes nearly a year-round fragrance. It has that massively appealing opening where people smell it and are just like, what is that? And then the dry down in here smells amazing as well. Blue Electrique is great. It is a stunning designer fragrance. It's one of those flankers that is a true flanker where you can smell absolutely the DNA of the first fragrance and you can draw a line directly to the flanker and say, this is what they did, this is how they changed it. If you like this, you'll like this. So Londonweed Alone Blue Electrique, fantastic scent, love it. If you like the original, you need to smell that. Last but not least, Womo Signature from Salvatore Ferragamo. Tonka, leather, roast coffee, cinnamon, and cardamom, some of the notes in this scent. This one, if you've never smelled it, you might ride off a little bit as far as being a compliment puller goes, and you should not. Yeah, there's leather in here, there's roast coffee, and some people may look at those notes and be like, those aren't more typical compliment pulling notes. But the way it's used in here is just awesome. It sets everything off. You have that warm, sexy spiciness in here. Of course, you've got a big dose of Tonka, and people do love that. Performance is fantastic, lasts forever, projects heavily. If you can find it from discounters, I say you should pick it up because it's getting harder to find nowadays. Unfortunately, this is becoming one of those fragrances that is sold out more often than not. Like 90% of the time I look for it, it's not there. That being said though, I think that this is one of those fragrances that even if it were to disappear from discounters and you had to pick it up at retail, I think it's worth retail. It gets amazing feedback. It does stand out a little bit from most of its contemporaries. Like I said, the performance is fantastic and it flies under the radar as far as your average Joe is concerned. So Womo Signature, wrapping this list up strong, heck of a scent. There we go, guys. 7 designer fragrances that will get you noticed in a big way in these cooler months coming up, unless you're in the Southern Hemisphere, and then refer back to this video in 6 months' time. And also enjoy your spring and summer. All right, guys, that's gonna do it for me. Thanks for hanging with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you later.